Has the radar that watched over the Gulf for years just been silenced? And with it a crucial layer of early warning for one of the world's most volatile waterways? With a key Bahrain radar site reportedly under fire, is the entire Gulf now holding its breath to see how exposed its skies and sea lanes have suddenly become? Is the small desert mountain that once saw everything across the horizon now shrouded in smoke, raising fears about what air and missile threats might slip through next? Did Iran's reported strike on this radar site help force Trump to the negotiating table, shifting the balance of leverage just as a possible deal comes into view? Is Jabal ad-Dukhan in Tehran's crosshairs? Is Iran now targeting the Gulf's warning network itself, challenging how long US and allied forces can keep their edge in the sky? As the US and Iran edge closer to signing a deal, a new claim from Bahrain's desert front about a hit on a crucial radar site has stunned observers and added another twist to Trump's negotiations. Defense Security Asia has reported a possible Iranian missile strike on Bahrain's Jabal ad-Dukhan base, a site long seen as a key node in the Gulf's radar coverage. Open-source satellite and social media images appeared to show smoke rising from the strategic radar site on June 11th, suggesting at least some visible damage on the mountain. The reported target sits on high ground overlooking key air and sea routes feeding into the Strait of Hormuz, making it a prime vantage point in any Gulf conflict scenario. Notably, there has been no confirmation so far from US Central Command, Bahrain's authorities, or the American Embassy, leaving the reports in a gray zone of strategic ambiguity. The reported site is linked to the AR-327 long-range 3D early warning radar system, a sensor designed to scan far across the sky for incoming aircraft and missiles. Analysts warn that degrading a radar of this type can create brief but dangerous blind spots in Gulf defenses, moments when hostile objects might slip through unnoticed. Those gaps could slow down missile interception, disrupt naval coordination, and delay threat assessment, multiplying the risk in the opening minutes of any new salvo. If confirmed, this would be among Iran's most precise strikes on a Bahrain-based asset to date, signaling both improved accuracy and a willingness to hit higher-value nodes. Jabal ad-Dukhan rises only around 122 to 134 meters, yet it dominates Bahrain's otherwise flat skyline and has long served as the country's natural watchtower. Its elevation allows radar systems mounted on the peak to scan flight and shipping corridors that link the Strait of Hormuz to routes heading towards Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Kuwait. Any serious damage there could ripple across regional early warning coverage in the northern Gulf, forcing allies to lean more heavily on overlapping sensors elsewhere. Bahrain also hosts the US Fifth Fleet headquarters, which magnifies the symbolic weight of any strike near its key military installations, even if no American facility is directly hit. Iran has framed the reported June 11th Bahrain strike as retaliation for earlier US attacks on Iranian coastal radar sites, casting it as a tit-for-tat move in an ongoing sensor war. Emerging reports suggest Tehran is now deliberately targeting sensors, not just visible military hardware, shifting the contest toward who controls information in the battle space. By going after radar rather than only ships or bases, Iran appears to be aiming to erode US information dominance first, blinding parts of the network before any wider clash. Both the US and Iran are now locked in a cycle of strikes on surveillance and command systems, waging a quieter war over who sees, decides, and reacts faster in the Gulf. President Trump says a breakthrough in US-Iran negotiations may be closer than ever, with a possible agreement expected within days. Speaking at the White House, Trump revealed that key documents are being finalized as negotiators work toward a formal deal. Trump insisted that both sides are eager to reach an understanding, describing the current momentum as highly encouraging.
Mr. President, on Iran, how confident are you that there will be a signing this weekend? Because you have come close to sealing a deal, but at the last minute it has fallen apart. And
it'll be soon, maybe this weekend.
And has the Supreme Leader approved this deal, sir?
I understand the answer is yes.
And when this deal is signed, is the United States going to immediately lift the blockade?
Yes, that's true. That's part of the deal.
And
you'll have oil prices dropping like a rock.
But has Iran committed to not pursuing a nuclear weapon, or will there be more negotiations on that down the line?
They will not have a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to that. There will be no, which is the whole reason, which is a big part of the reason.
Is that going to be in your agreement, sir?
They will not only not have, they will not purchase, develop in any way, any shape, in any way, shape, or form a nuclear weapon. They will not have a nuclear weapon.
But is this just the concept of that agreement when it comes to nuclear? You said this was just a concept of that agreement. So is this just essentially setting the stage for deeper talks on nuclear?
It's a very strong memorandum of understanding that is a little conceptual, but it's something that's going to get done. And if it doesn't get done for any reason, which I can't imagine that not happening, they want to sign it as much as I do or more. I would say they want to sign it more, maybe a lot more. But it's a very detailed memorandum of understanding, also agreed to by many other countries that have great influence over them, and everybody wants it done. So it's going to get done.
Mr. President, is there a specific amount of time that has to pass between this memorandum of understanding and a final deal being done?
Well, we hope it's going to go relatively quickly, but it's...
Is there a 60 or 90
I mean, the
day
straits are
deadline?
going to open immediately. It's upon signing. Maybe it'll be Saturday or Monday.
Or is there a deadline, though, to get from this to a final deal?
We think it's going to go pretty quickly. I don't want to say a deadline because if I say a deadline, you'll say, oh, he didn't meet the deadline. You know, this is like, it's not going to matter much because it's going to get signed.
Qatar's leadership has remained actively involved in mediation efforts, holding direct talks with Trump on the proposed agreement. According to Qatar, the framework emerging from negotiations has received broad backing from the key stakeholders involved. Doha praised ongoing diplomatic efforts, expressing hope that a deal could help bring stability back to the region. Diplomatic sources say negotiators made significant progress, narrowing several of the key gaps that had stalled talks for months. The latest negotiations reportedly centered on the release of frozen Iranian funds, maritime security in Hormuz, and the future of nuclear discussions. Officials familiar with the talks say Qatar's mediation helped produce an agreement in principle, raising hopes of a broader breakthrough. Qatar Emir's office statement read, and I quote, "During the call, the two leaders discussed the close strategic relations between the two countries and ways to support and enhance them in addition to the latest regional and international developments, particularly those related to diplomatic efforts for de-escalation in the region," unquote. Despite progress in negotiations, reports suggest the proposed agreement cannot move forward without final approval from Iran's highest leadership. Sources say Iran's leadership is carefully reviewing the terms of the understanding before deciding whether to formally endorse the deal. Iranian media reports indicate that Tehran is still reviewing the proposed framework and has not yet delivered its final response in the negotiations. Officials in Tehran dismissed reports suggesting an agreement has already been finalized, saying discussions are still ongoing. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai cautioned against speculation, stressing that no official announcement has been made regarding a final deal. Ismail Baghai said, and I quote, "Textually, the text has almost been finalized in its major parts. The problem is that the contradictory positions of the United States have always caused turbulence and disruption in this process. While they speak of diplomacy and negotiations, they simultaneously resort to force, illegal actions, and criminal behavior. Iran has proven in practice that its red lines are the interests and welfare of the Iranian nation, and there will be absolutely no compromise in this regard. Had the Islamic Republic intended to retreat from its principled positions under pressure and threats, it would have done so 1.5 years ago. We have proven that we stand firm. The decision-making process in our country is completely clear. The relevant authorities must review every detail of the text. As soon as we reach a final conclusion that serves the interests of the Iranian nation, it will be officially announced," unquote. Baghai claimed the United States has repeatedly shifted its stance during talks, creating uncertainty and slowing diplomatic progress.